My name's Helen Ball. I'm the Senior Sustainability Manager at Broadacres Housing Association. And today I'm going to talk about driving culture change within a smaller housing association. So these are the things I'm going to go through during the course of today's presentation. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background to Broadacres. I'm going to talk about our sustainability strategy. And how we have started to try to embed a culture of sustainability across the organisation through delivering carbon literacy training. I'll talk a little bit about the importance of data as well when it comes to retrofit, and also customer engagement and how we are trying to collaborate with other housing providers as well. So moving on. So just to give you a little bit of background to Broadacres. So we are a not-for-profit housing provider. We own and manage more than 6,000 homes across North Yorkshire. If you're not sure where North Yorkshire is, it's the red county on the map there. God's own county, some of us like to call it. Yeah, we're a large county and very rural based, so we're quite a rural housing provider. And our core vision at Broadacres is to be the best rural housing association in the country. So just to give you a little bit of background then around sustainability and the work that we've been doing at Broadacres over the last few years. So we our board first approved a sustainability strategy here at Broadacres almost 3 years ago. And it was a little bit of a turning point for us, really. We'd been doing a lot of work previous to that on sustainability, but it was a little bit disjointed, and sometimes it lacked that strategic oversight, and it lacked a drive, really. So yeah, from approval of that strategy, we've been able to deliver a lot around sustainability. The strategy is currently under review, so it's being refreshed, and we are putting a significant emphasis this time round on the importance of colleague culture. So we are realising that unless we can bring our colleagues and our customers along with us when it comes to sustainability, then it's just not going to be possible to deliver our strategy. A sustainability strategy is much more, as I'm sure you'll be aware, much more than writing down what you want to achieve. It's also about how you're going to achieve that. And with sustainability being something that we would like all areas of the organisation to touch, we need to get all colleagues on board with us. So I've just put a little quote there on the slide from hopefully our new strategy. Hopefully it will get approved as such, which says, a key part of achieving this cultural shift is improving our colleagues' knowledge and understanding of environmental sustainability issues. After all, we cannot expect our colleagues to care and take action about issues that they do not fully understand. So that's why we feel it's so important that we try to embed this culture of sustainability across the organisation. So how are we doing that? Well, it's not easy, and it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time, and sometimes it's about playing that long game, isn't it? And about doing things, and sometimes you don't see the benefit of that for 6 months or a year, or even longer sometimes. But these are some of the things that we do at Broadacres to try to embed that culture of sustainability. So when new colleagues join us on their first day of induction, we're devising a short film which will showcase some of the sustainability achievements at Broadacres. So the purpose of that is, from day one of working at Broadacres, once we've got this element of the induction complete, from day one, all new staff members will hear about sustainability, and it will become sort of normal. It's something that we talk about as a normal thing at Broadacres, that we expect all colleagues to come on board with. All colleagues as well have to undertake a sustainability awareness training. So that's one of our core courses at Broadacres, and that's refreshed on a 3-yearly basis. And then one of the other things that we've started delivering at Broadacres over the last couple of years is carbon literacy training. So for those of you who aren't aware of carbon literacy training, I'll tell you a little bit about it now. So carbon literacy training is managed by the Carbon Literacy Project. And the Carbon Literacy Project have devised a number of different toolkits for use in different sectors. So for example, there's a carbon literacy toolkit for the use in the automotive sector. There's a carbon literacy toolkit for the use in the social housing sector, and they've just devised another toolkit as well for social housing customers as well. So for the last 2 years, we have been delivering carbon literacy training to our colleagues. It's an 8-hour course, so it's quite a commitment. But the course encourages and enables people to learn about the impacts and consequences of climate change, but also to consider their part in alleviating climate change. So it encourages people to devise, to think of 2 pledges during the course. So they have to think of an individual pledge, something they can deliver on their own, and a group pledge. So it just gets the brain cells ticking, I think, in terms of not just learning about something new, but actually turning it around and thinking, well, what's my part in this? What part can I play? And we found it really quite transformative at Broadacres. So far, we've delivered the course to 103 colleagues. So that's not quite a third of our colleagues, but coming up to that. And we have kept it as an optional course so far, and we're finding that as word spreads, more and more people are wanting to register to take part in the training. So I'm just going to, over the next few slides, I'm just going to go through some of the outcomes of that course, sort of on quite a detailed, granular basis. So I'm going to go into a couple of a detail of a couple of colleagues who've undertaken that training and sort of the outcomes of that, you know, the benefits of that we've seen at Broadacres of those 2 colleagues having done that training. So let's see. So the first one was in a colleague from our voids team, so from our empty homes team. So one of our colleagues, Sharon, she attended one of our first carbon literacy training courses, and she is one of our voids team leaders. So she came on one of our first courses, and she was so impacted by the course. Personally, she taken on a vegan diet, so she's completely changed her eating habits as a result of coming on the course. But it's also had a huge impact on her professionally as well. And by coming on the course, she could see that there was a lot of potential for her team to change the way they do things and change the way they operate, to sort of reduce environmental impact within that team. So the first thing Sharon wanted was for all of her team to come on the course. So she wrote that down on her pledge form. That was her individual pledge. She said, I'm going to encourage all of my team to come on the carbon literacy training. So that's what we did. So we ran a course for the whole of that particular voids team. You can see a little picture of them all sat there in the room happily at the start of that course. So yep, they did their 8 hours of training, and they actually came up with a really great pledge as well themselves, a group pledge to reduce the amount of waste that they generate as they're going about their work, because they felt that sometimes a lot of materials are ordered for their voids work that isn't needed. So there was a very sort of speedy, very quick kind of improvement that we could deliver there. But it went further than that, because at Broadacres currently we are reviewing all of the specifications of work for all of our major works. So that includes our void specification. We're reviewing it with the ambition to incorporate some more energy efficiency work as we deliver our voids work. So as that specification is being reviewed, Sharon is playing a really key pivotal part in that, and her team is as well, because we are working directly with her team to trial out some new techniques, so to trial out some new air tightness measures as part of the standard void spec. So again, you know, it would be quite easy to rewrite the void spec, wouldn't it, and to write those lines in. You know, we want a new loft hatch to be installed in all properties. We want floors to have air tightness tape installed. That would be the easy thing. The most challenging thing is, how do we engage with our teams to make sure that that work is delivered really well and really thoroughly and to a high standard. And by engaging with this particular team who'd already done the carbon literacy training, we already had their hearts and minds on board. We've been able to do some really good trials with this particular team. And the results that we've had from these trial properties have been absolutely brilliant. So what we did was we went into some empty homes. We did some air tightness tests before the team came in and did the work. Sharon's team came in and installed some pretty straightforward measures. So you can see some pictures there, a replacement loft hatch. They've sealed some of the gaps in the floorboards with air tightness tape, and they've sealed some pipe penetrations as well through the wall. So pretty straightforward stuff. But because they'd done the carbon literacy training, they understood why we were asking them to do this. After the team had been in to do the work, we then carried out another air tightness test. And on the next slide, here we go, you can see the certificate of the air tightness test at one of these properties. And the number that you're looking at there, the 4.02, is the air leakage at this property, which had these pretty basic measures installed. Prior to the work being carried out, the air leakage at this property was measured at more than 10. It was really great for the team to be able to see their work had made this big reduction or this big improvement in air tightness in this property. We've carried this out in about 5 properties in total, and we're now just putting a business case together. Hopefully this work will now be incorporated in all of our voids work going forward once that business case has got sign off. So that is an example from one of our teams who's undertaken the carbon literacy training. Let's have a look at another example. So the second example is from one of our is from our catering team. Suze is our catering manager here at Broadacres, and she came on our carbon literacy training, and similarly to Sharon, she was really personally impacted by the course. She could really see you know, some improvements that she could make in her own life, but also professionally as well. She could identify some improvements that could be made within her team. So she wanted all of her team to, all of her chef managers to come on the course as well. So we arranged that, and we've recently delivered carbon literacy training for all of her team. And we've just a couple of weeks ago got certificates back for those. So that's really great news. As a result of the catering team coming on the carbon literacy course, there's been some really great sort of initiatives undertaken within that team. So, for example, they're growing their own herbs within their garden areas. They're weighing the food waste, and any food waste that is now being composted. And as a team, they're looking at other initiatives that they're going to integrate in the coming months as well. So, for example, looking at having a cold meal day, so where they don't have to get the ovens fired up, and all food is cold. And they're also looking at reducing the amount of red meat that's used within the kitchens as well. So some really great examples of work that's just been inspired from that carbon literacy training, and it's great to see sort of grassroots stuff happening and enthusiasm from all areas of the business, which I don't think would have happened without the carbon literacy training. So we are continuing to deliver that, and we feel it's starting to have great impact culturally within Broadacres as well. From in November as well, we are looking to deliver our first course to some of our involved customers, which I'll talk a bit about in a minute. So just changing tack a little bit. When we're talking about retrofit, we all know that data is key, and we've invested quite heavily in this at Broadacres. We've been using the Parity Projects portfolio tool. I can see a couple of folk from Parity Projects on the call as well today. So we've been using portfolio for quite a number of years at Broadacres, and we're getting to the point now where we're really quite comfortable with the quality of the data that we hold in portfolio, and we can start to use it to forecast what work we need to do to achieve future targets. We can use it to program in when we're going to carry out this work, and also importantly to estimate how much that work is going to cost. So some headline figures, actually these are now out of date because this morning we got a little bit of an update in terms of our SAP figures within portfolio. But at the point of writing these slides, our average SAP at Broadacres was 72.04, and we are working to achieve a minimum SAP 69 by 2028. So we've got 1,445 properties to work on within the next 5 years to achieve that. Looking further ahead, currently our current sustainability strategy says that we're looking to be net zero carbon by 2050. We're looking to tighten that, bring that date considerably forward in the new version of our sustainability strategy, but we'll wait and see on that front. Sometimes I get asked, what data do we need to collect? You know, if you're at the beginning of the journey in terms of retrofit, what data do we need to collect? And really, it's the data that's collected during an EPC assessment, such as that listed on the slide there. Another important consideration when it comes to retrofit, really key consideration, is that of customer engagement. So at Broadacres, we invest quite heavily in this when it comes to retrofit. We have just recruited our third dedicated customer liaison officer who works in our sustainability team. So we've now got 3 customer liaison officers who work just on our retrofit projects. And we find it's so important to have, you know, a good level of customer engagement resource. We strive to enable all customers to have retrofit work carried out, and we take an individual approach when it comes to that, because everybody's different. And for one person, they might be able to say, yes, I'll have that work carried out. And for someone else, that might be a really, really difficult decision. And we work to ensure that customers are at the heart of everything that we do, and we try to incorporate them in decision making as well. We know that there can be quite a number of reasons why customers might say no, and our job, we feel, is to enable them to say yes, not to force them, but sometimes there may be tweaks that we can do that would enable them to say yes. So for example, that might mean finding alternative accommodation for a customer for a week, or it may be helping a customer to clear their belongings from a loft, all sorts of different things that we can do to enable customers to have that work carried out. And we are working now as well to look at how we can bring customers on that retrofit journey with us even more. So I said a few minutes ago around the carbon literacy training, we're looking to, well, we will be rolling this training out to some of our involved customers from November this year, using the Carbon Literacy Project's new toolkit for social housing customers. And what we're hoping is that by delivering that training to some of our involved customers, we can encourage them to shape our offer to them. So, you know, it'll help us to understand what our customers need us to do to enable us to retrofit their homes. So it's just about sort of customer engagement, but on a really detailed level, really. And we are looking to work sort of effectively with all areas of the business so that we've got a good understanding of why customers have declined. So we know that we collect information about some of our customers in our area of the business, but there'll be other areas of the business who also have information about our customers. So a sort of medium-term ambition for us is to utilize that data in a bit more of a clever way so that we've got a better understanding of what support our customers might need and how much resource in terms of customer liaison support do we need to provide so that we're supporting our customers as much as they need. And finally on this slide, effective communication. So it's really important that we tell the good news retrofit stories. Word can travel fast in our communities. I'm sure we all know that, possibly even more so in rural communities. So yeah, we try hard to tell the good news stories to counter some of the, what should we call it, jungle drums that can sound sometimes in our communities. So. And finally, final slide is around collaboration. So I'm sure we're all familiar with the figures on this slide. You know, we've all got so much work to do. I'm sure we all feel that. So let's collaborate. There'll be some things that, you know, at Broadacres we might be a little bit further ahead than others, so we can share good practice to other people, to other housing providers. But we also look out to other housing providers to learn from them in other areas that we sort of haven't done any work on yet. So it's all about collaboration. Let's work together. Let's keep communicating, talking to make this task as easy as possible, because we have got a lot of work to do. And that is the end of my presentation today.